So hello, and thank you for joining us. If you could maybe start out by introducing yourself.
Yes, hello. My name is Laura Dalgaard, and I'm a knitwear designer from Copenhagen, Denmark, where I have been doing my own stuff since 2018, where I graduated from the Royal Academy, and I have also been doing some freelance and working for others. Yes.
Yeah, cool. Well, I got to know you or became familiar with your work from finding you on Instagram, and you have quite a big following on there. And it made me think about the difference between how the knitwear scene used to be in terms of like the hobby craft that used to be very magazine based, and now that the whole media landscape is changing and is more online based, it seems to have provided some cool opportunities for young designers like yourself. So maybe you could talk a little bit about your experience with using Instagram and how you find it works best for you.
Yeah. I think you're right that it totally changed, and like the power, if you can call it that, used to be with the huge yarn companies, and now it's more how can you say it, it's you can actually just sit down and write down a pattern and like sell it on Instagram. Like everybody can do this. Of course, there's a difference between how good people are at stuff, but um but that's like up to the user, I think, and not me to say. But I think it became a quite interesting market, and it's a huge gift for a small designer as myself to be able to be so close to the consumer. Uh, and um, and I actually started out when I graduated from school. When I finished, I thought I would go out and work for someone else, uh, and I also did that like freelance. But then it came to me that people were so interested in what I did, and I had this opportunity to both do some ready-made knit that I could sell, but also like sell the pattern. And if I didn't make the pattern and sell it, probably someone else would. So it's also like rethinking the whole structure of a company, that you can be both selling a pattern and a ready-made sweater and a knit kit. And yeah, was that an answer?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how it's interesting that it's the game has changed in a lot of ways with the digitalization, where it's both the thing of how you communicate to the customers, which is kind of one side, but it's also then how you sell to customers that has changed. So suddenly you as an independent designer can have a really close relationship with your followers directly without going through yarn companies or through magazines. It's you directly next to the customer. But then
Yeah.
it also means that you have to be able to do all the things. You're not just designing sweaters and writing down patterns.
No, I'm like the whole company.
Yeah.
And like I don't have employees, so it is me doing everything, and also packing and sending and stuff. But yeah, but there's also a huge what is it called, freedom in that.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, but but when I started doing stuff on Instagram, I did it as a private person. And if you scroll down on my Instagram, you can see like pictures of my plant and my daughter and stuff like that, stuff you would put up to like communicate with your friends, close friends. And then suddenly it changed. So it was also, I was a bit slow figuring out, wow, this is now a business
Mm.
and not just me knitting some stuff and having fun. I'm still having fun, but now it's also a business. And to start with, I kind of had an idea that you had to go through the yarn companies or the like fashion houses or stuff like that. That you couldn't. I was not. I was not one of the first one to figure out to do stuff myself. I feel like other people knew that long time before me. And then but now I kind of did, and I really try to embrace Instagram is my media, and like I also have a web page, but it is the only PR I'm doing, and I'm not paying for anything. It's just people also reposting, and it's really a nice community. The knit community on Instagram.
Yeah. So do you actually prefer focusing on, because you mentioned before that you've done freelance and tried working in different ways. So where you are right now, are you happy to focus entirely on your own business with your own recipes and maybe some ready-made pieces? Or would you like to also branch out more?
I think that that it's still not like the price you get for a knit pattern when you sell it to someone else is still not high enough to really make sense. So it's also, so it's really important to me actually to try to do my own stuff mostly. Also because I need to figure out the real value of what I do, because when I know what I can earn on my own, then I kind of know what I should have from someone else. And I can see now that it's not I can't really live from doing stuff for others. So when I do my own stuff, I earn some money, and then I can like choose to do stuff for others, because I always get paid a little too little when I do that. It's more like PR, and it's something you do to be, because it's also like you, when people look at you, it's kind of a value when you have done stuff with a big company or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that.
Because you worked with larger brands in Denmark, right? And
Oh, yeah.
in a way, actually, where you managed to have your own name mentioned as a part of the collaboration, as far as I know.
Yes.
What was the
Also,
brand?
actually,
Bamund Fatgarden,
in
or I forgot the name. Sorry.
yeah, and also a really, really huge. Oh, sorry. Like I also work with anthropology, which is like a part of Urban Outfitters.
Yeah.
But they are paying a little more than the Danish companies, and when you just finish school, I think you're. I was just so overwhelmed that someone wanted to work with me and people wanted to buy my stuff, and I was not at all. I had no clue what what the value was of my work, so I just did a lot of stuff, and I don't regret it or anything, but I still, I have a daughter and an apartment, and I need to earn a bit of money too. It can't be
Of course.
it can't be free, all of it.
No, but it's interesting that you say that the collaborations you do is really much more about PR than it is about diversifying your income. So it's about reaching out to a larger audience.
What?
I was just saying, it's interesting that you're saying that your collaborations are more about PR than income, really. I find that interesting. Because I think I would have assumed the other way around, that you would be making more money working on your collaborations than you would selling your own things.
Yeah. Yeah, that is quite weird, actually. And now I also chose to say no to all collaborations that are not financially, what is it called? Like, hvad hedder bæredygtig? Sustainable, yeah, financially sustainable also, because it has to make sense, or else I will get stressed.
For sure. I think it's also when you have a design career, you kind of have this it evolves, where in the beginning you're happy to get some names on your resume and to get some experience, and you might even do something for free or just for getting some clothes, and then along the way you start being able to demand more and more as you kind of gain more power. But it's one of those really tricky things, because we're all as designers competing against each other, and really would be good for all of us if we were all better at demanding some pay, so we could collectively kind of raise the bottom up a bit.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite sad that everyone I asked said like, you should do that. It's great PR, but and I probably should, but I wish we would be more like saying to each other, you should definitely get some more money, because it's not okay that some people are undervalued or not appreciated for their work, not when we live in such rich country.
For sure. And when you're working with
Yeah.
handicrafts, it can be really difficult because a lot of people don't appreciate the time that goes into making. So it's hard for them to really appreciate how many hours of work they're actually getting when they're getting paid, when they're paying for something. But you're right, there needs to be a change in the culture
But I
for
think
designers.
that
Oh, sorry, I think we have a bit of a delay. I was just saying that as designers, we definitely need to work on our culture, at getting better at that. But I have to say, it's something I struggle with as well. But I've made a choice some years back to stop with doing any free work. And now when people offer me free work, I just always tell them what I would like to get paid. But even doing something as simple as that, sometimes I still get unpopular from that. I get people who are annoyed that I ask for money for work.
Yeah.
Which is to me incredible.
Yeah, to me too. But don't you think, because I do, that the whole awareness that Instagram are creating for small handicraft designers are like moving people's minds a little about this? Because I feel like when, for example, when you knit your own sweater or make some clothes for yourself, you kind of get more aware what it's worth and how long it takes, so you appreciate it more, and then also understand a little bit more about, oh, okay, so that's why this sweater or what it is cost like 5,000. And the fun part about me selling a sweater for 5,000 in a shop is I earn almost nothing, because the shop takes half of it, and I have to pay taxes, and I have to pay materials, and so it's it's just
Yeah, I think you're right
it's
that
just
people
quite
are learning a lot by doing it themselves, but it's
I
really
started
difficult
out being
field.
positive, ended up being sorry.
No,
The
there's a big lag, so we're kind of talking at the same time. No, but it's just, I was just saying that it's I think you're right that people are getting educated by doing more themselves, so that definitely there's a bigger understanding for it, because like the pricing for fashion has just become completely skewed by the outsourcing, because people are paid so little in countries far away to make things, and often way too little even compared to their local economy. So people just have a completely false perception of what things should cost. So in a lot of ways, I think what you do is actually a part of changing that as well. And this whole kind of wave of knitwear becoming cool and craft becoming something that younger people do again, I think it's really important for the larger sustainable change that we need to see.
Yeah, really. And then we need to see it, not that I'm doing it. I think I'm a small part of it. I think there are it's like a wave, and there are many people who are much better at giving how's that, how do you say that, like for example Petit Knit, a Danish knitwear. She sells like patterns for knitwear, and she is like a huge part of, I think, young people daring to learn to knit, because it's also it see, I think people think it's very difficult, which it's not, but and then maybe they get inspired by me and some other designers to oh wow, if I could make that. But they make the more easy stuff, I think. This is a bit, please ask another question. I feel like I'm rambling now.
No, that's cool. No, I was just thinking about, because I'm trying not to talk over you, so sometimes I'm also just waiting.
Yes.
No, but I was thinking about this thing that it's really interesting to look at how you can sell your designs in two different ways. Well, apart from the collaborations, where one way is to sell a finished product that either you or someone else knits, and the other way is to sell a recipe. So of course the recipe is a lot cheaper because people have to do the labor themselves and buy all the yarns. But I was just wondering, how much for you are you making money on selling the patterns, and how much are you making money on selling the products? Because even though it's probably fewer products, it's a lot more money per product, I'm imagining.
You fell out on the last one, but it was like it's a lot fewer. It's something with
a lot fewer of the expensive products, but then because it's so much more money per product, even though maybe it's not as many as the recipes, I was just wondering, like, money wise, how it kind of ends up being for you.
I will get back to you in a few years with that, but I can try to answer now. But I feel like I'm in the middle of it, so I'm not sure I kind of really know the answer. But as you say, there are some products that at the moment I had this dream that I could make some patterns every month, and that would like make a steady income, so I should not worry about money, and then I can go make those more artsy, fashionable pieces that you can buy ready-made, and but also as a knit kit or something like that, because I like it to be available to people that don't have like maybe 5,000 to go buy a sweater. But and I think it could be like that, and I think it's gonna be like that. But at the moment, everything is so new to me, and I just had my first production, which means I had some sweaters knitted by some sweet old ladies in Italy. So it's not like a production. It's but it still is. It's a part of. It's like a fabric. It's called, but it's really some ladies sitting at home knitting, and like a small company owned by a mother and her son. But it is production. I'm not knitting them myself, so it's different from what I'm used to. But but then with the expensive products, I have no idea if people want to buy them. So I have maybe 26 sweaters made. I just had that, and I have no clue if people want to buy them. So it
Okay,
could
so it's actually
potentially
completely new for you to see how that's gonna go.
Yes,
So
because
it's all
now I
recipes
knitted.
now?
Sorry?
So it's mainly recipes you sell now?
Yeah, no, because I also did sell some ready-made sweaters that I knitted myself. I had a few ladies here in Copenhagen knitting for me, but actually I did almost everything myself, and that was like a minus business.
Okay.
But it took me a while to figure out, okay, you cannot use 30 hours to do something that cost you get 600 kroner for or something. It's not enough.
No.
So but potentially with the sweaters I have had made, that could be a steady income if I can sell them, and I of course I believe I can. But yeah, actually today I went to a shop in Copenhagen called Holly Go Lightly, because she bought 6 of the sweaters from me, and she liked them so much, so she wanted to order 12 more, and I only have 26. Now they're all gone actually. So
it's going pretty well.
So it's going pretty well, but that's one sweater, but I would like to make many more. and like small drops, but not. But but I also like the idea of not making too many of each, because I can't like be a part of fast fashion and just overproducing and stuff like that. So hopefully I can do small collection like this, like 25 to 50 pieces, and so it's still, that's really limited actually compared to normally, like small companies have at least 300 made of each, so it is really small.
Yeah.
And if I can just sell that, I think it would be fine, but it's still not gonna make money for a lot of people. It's still for me and maybe one employee or something. That's where we are.
Yeah. So are you hoping to then
I'm not answering your questions. Sorry.
No, it's interesting to hear where your company is going. So you've mainly been making money doing the recipes, and then now you're starting to try out having your own production. So far, it sounds like it's already going really amazing. Do you then kind of want to get away from the recipes, or do you want to still have both? And if so, why?
I'm not going away from making the, I think it's called pattern in English.
Sorry, yeah, patterns.
Like the recipe. Yeah, no, it's okay. But I'm a little in doubt. But yeah, but I will. I really, really like how the patterns are for everyone. Like the social part of it. That it's you can always like buy it, and maybe you can't afford the yarn that I used, but then you can figure out something and make your own version of it. And that's like how I am. I kind of want everybody to have the chance at being a part of it. But I can't make the sweaters I produce, when I do so few. I can't make them that much cheaper. It's just like that. So I really like that I can't do all of it. I was so afraid that people would maybe when you could buy the pattern, then
Du
people would
faldt lige
not
ud med
buy
det
the
sidste der.
ready-made sweater. Or okay. I was just so afraid that when you're able to buy the pattern, people wouldn't buy the ready-made sweaters. But it's not like that. It's just different customers, and I don't think it adds anything bad to the ready-made luxury product, that you could also make it yourself. And if I didn't sell the pattern, somebody else would just copy it and sell it. So it also, as such a small company as I am, just me, it's important for me to like earn all the money on my product, not giving it away to someone else. Yeah.
For sure.
So I will never stop doing the patterns.
I love that. So it really means that your brand can kind of both be really high end in the terms of having high quality products that cost a bit more because of how they're made, but then also, like how you're saying, people with very little money can even access it. Actually,
Yeah.
on a personal note, I have one of your sweaters that I swapped some work with someone for them to knit it for me.
Oh, nice.
So
which one?
The polo trøjen, sådan polo.
Ja. Ja. Oh, lovely.
Så det er bare så hyggeligt det der med, at man ligesom kan bytte sig til ting. Jeg elsker det der med, at alle kan...
You're speaking English.
Oh, sorry. Det var... It wasn't going to be used in the podcast anyway. It was just me saying, wanted you to know that.
Ja, det er nemlig så hyggeligt.
Let me just check my questions. Yeah, I think just the last thing that I haven't covered with you so far is what kind of target group customers are you going for, or do you have? How much do you, I guess because you are quite a lot in contact with them on your Instagram, you probably have quite a clear idea of who you're selling to?
Yeah, I could check. No, but it is like 20, like 80, sorry, 98% women, and they are between 15 and 55. So, and then a very little men are also following my knitting game, but mostly women. But it's for me it's like 40% from Denmark, and the rest are mostly from United States and England.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's actually more from other countries than from Denmark?
Yeah, I was quite surprised actually also about how many. And last month I sold from my web shop to 32 countries patterns, and
That's
I
really
only
cool.
sell them in Danish and English. Yeah, it's so nice. Also in Africa. Wow,
that's amazing.
and
there's something so magical about how you just one person with some really nice products that you make and describe how others can make, and then you can just go on your phone and reach all these people, and suddenly someone knitted your sweater down in Africa.
Yeah,
it's pretty magical.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it makes me so happy. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's really, there's so many big changes happening now with the digital reality. It's giving some completely new opportunities.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
But you asked about like the target group, but I don't like really have one. I've never sat down and thought, now I want to do stuff that targets this customer or something like that. It's much more, I'm not really not a business person. I have a business, but I have no clue how to do it. I'm learning everything on the way.
So you make the things you want to make, and then when I ask you who your target group are, it's more like you're checking on your app saying, I can see it's these people.
Yeah,
rather than the other way around.
Yeah,
I think that's super interesting because like traditional business people who go to a business college to learn how to do business, the way that they think and structure a business plan and build everything up, it's so different to how I experience designers such as yourself build up a business. It's completely a different way of looking at things. But
yeah, and you also have to
it's no less a business.
No, it's no less a business, but you also need to be quite lucky. Of course, you could argue that I have some talent. Yes, a lot of people have that, but I've also been lucky that I kind of, when I started knitting at the school, it was not so popular. It's like, but since 2018, when I graduated, it has just exploded. So that's kind of also
good timing.
Good timing, yes. And so it's, I think there are some people out there who will not get just get the same, how is it called, like opmærksomhed, attention. Just, I feel like I did nothing. Of course I did, but sometimes I just feel really, really lucky. Yeah, that's just what I have to say. That if you don't get the same attention right away, if you try, I hope you keep on trying. It's not the you, as it's like for everyone.
General you, yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. There's definitely a lot about timing and luck in business, but I always say that it requires a lot of hard work to be there, to be ready to get the luck.
Sure.
And luck alone won't get you very far. So, but you need both for sure.
Yeah.
I think I've covered all the questions that I have on my list. Do you have anything that you think it would be important to talk about and mention to whoever's listening to this podcast? Just if there's anything you're thinking like I didn't think about.
I think it was really nice that you wanted to talk about the money in the business, because it's actually something I struggled a lot with. I was very confused about how to survive doing this, because it's such a time-consuming art form, and I was like, this is never gonna function, and I have to have another job to like make what I want. But I somehow, and I think actually the patterns are like the right now, like the way for me to do the other stuff. And now I figured out also how to earn a little bit of money on that too, so it can kind of um run around, or it's not called that, it was
Very
directly
Danish. Yeah,
Danish.
how do you say? Yeah, make ends meet, maybe.
Okay, yeah, thank
I
you.
think.
But I think it's important to discuss just sorry, I think I used up my word.
You're running out of English.
But you, yes, totally. Blah, blah, blah. But but I think it's really important to talk about, to discuss, because there are so many young people getting inspired by what all the art, craftsmanship, all the craftsmanship a lot of designers are doing at the moment. And I think a lot of them are struggling with the money, and it looks from outside as, oh, wow, it's so easy, I can just chill and knit and earn a lot of money. And of course maybe a few people can, like I mentioned her before, Petite Knit, I'm sure she makes a lot of money, but for most of us it's a struggle. And I think like you said earlier, that you're not doing work for free, that's really important. If we all stop doing it, people will stop asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not gonna ask someone to fix your bathroom for free. People would get really angry at you. But for
No.
some reason, it's fine to ask people to
Yeah.
knit a sweater for free. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but you are having fun while you do it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you should pay someone based on how much fun they're having, but on how much value they're offering you. That's my opinion.
Yes.
Have you
I
ever
was trying to
considered
be fun.
have you ever considered some of those new platforms, Sarah? I started recently using Patreon. Do you know the site?
No, what is it called?
Patreon. So in Danish, in Mæcen. So it's basically like a modern day version of a Patreon that would, in the old days, be like a king who paid for an artist. So now instead it's like a sort of a crowdfunding way. So a lot of just normal people can pay a small amount either every month or every project, depending on how you define your service. And then they get like some special access that you define yourself. So a lot of podcast makers, for example, have it. And maybe they'll release the podcast early for the people who follow, or they'll share some background stories, or some of the patrons that pay more money can get to name something or get their name mentioned in the credit or something like that. It's just, I think it's a really interesting new way of looking at working. I don't know if it would make sense specifically for you, but there's just something interesting about it that I think is important.
But me too. Some people mentioned stuff like that, like crowdfunding, and I actually think it's really interesting. Also in the means of overproduction, that you like know what to have made, because people already ordered it before you have it made. But yeah, so it's just a question of time that I haven't looked more into stuff like that. But I would like to. Maybe you could send a text, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I got the name.
I'll send you. Yes, that made me think of another question. So when you have things produced in Italy and you're talking about you're doing kind of smaller amounts, but it's still, some amount, and you have to put out money for that. Have you ever considered using Kickstarter, for example, to crowdfund doing this production, and then people would pay X amount of money, and maybe that would be already paying for one of the sweaters?
I considered it, and it's kind of the same thing as you just.
Yeah, but the format is different. Like
Kickstarter
Kickstarter is like one big project, one time, where Patreon is like abonnement is like a monthly, ongoing.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
And Kickstarter, you usually buy a product most often.
Yeah. But I did consider, I've been so lucky that I got some money from like this government in Denmark had this art foundation that you can get some money from.
Yeah, you
So
got
that's
money
what I
from
used to
Art
get it
Council.
started because oh yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I got some money from them so I could get started. And but that's actually a big thing because it's expensive to get started. And I don't have rich parents, or they do everything they can to help me, but not they're not able to just give me a lot of money. And I'm alone. I don't have a husband, so I also have to like really. It's only me, and so it was a huge thing for me how to get the money to get started, and that was a worry for a year or something. And then I got that money, but I should definitely have done stuff like the thing you're talking about. And I think, how old are you?
36.
Okay, we're the same age, but I have this idea you were younger than me.
I think
Because
I'm
it
just a
feels
computer
like
geek, so
such
I
a
know
boomer
about some of
sometimes.
these platforms.
But that's so nice. I'm like, it's so old fashioned, and just to sit knitting and try to, why is the internet not working? Yeah, but I could, maybe I should hire you. No,
I'll send you
no.
the links, don't worry about it. But maybe we should consider like just beyond this whole podcast project, maybe we should consider like some sort of groups where we meet up designers together and talk about different strategies we have and discuss like who's nice to work for and work with and what not to do. And because I'm sure everyone knows a million weird little things from experience.
Yeah, exactly. And to be like a small union, because there are no union for people like us.
Yeah, and like I think it doesn't happen because people don't have the energy to actually start a union, but I think even just having the conversation and just talking about it, I think it can make a huge difference. And just sharing the tactics, for example, just something like, how do I ask people to pay me, and how do I know how much to ask? Just really
exactly.
basic
That's
things,
a
but
big
it's
deal.
really difficult when you're all alone with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so difficult. To begin with, I felt like you can just have it. Just take it. Do you want it? No.
You want my things? Oh my God.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. We should discuss that.
I think it's a rite of passage you have to go through as a designer, but we need to make it a whole lot smaller and shorter, that period. Because I know people who are still working for free and doing whole exhibitions for free, even like 10, 15 years into their careers. And when they do it, then it makes it that much harder for the rest of us to say, no, thank you.
Yeah, it really does. And I done some stuff myself, but no more.
Good. Cool. Well, I think we covered everything on the little list. So I'm just going to turn off the thing. Oh, nej. Fik jeg bare slukket.